Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Crow, the Chanticleer's weekly podcast. We are your hosts, Anna Barrett
and Justin Travis. Thank you so much for joining us. Every article we mentioned can be found on our website, jsuchanticleer.com, or on our app, which is available on iOS and Android. So we're going to start by introducing ourselves a little bit. I'm a current senior at Jacksonville State and the sports editor for the Chanticleer.
And I am a junior and the news editor. We wanted to start a podcast to have more of a conversation with our audience.
Going off of that, we want this to be a chance for you all to get to know us as students and people rather than just a byline.
Jumping right into the top 5 stories, the editorial staff at the Chanticleer chose the following as the top 5 this week.
At number 1, we have Grease Fire in Pennell Hall. Features editor Maddie Reed got her first chance to cover breaking news for the news section on January 9th as she reported on a grease fire emergency at Pennell Hall. She was one of the first bystanders on the scene. She took great photos that accurately represented the scene, and then she interviewed Jacksonville State University Police Chief Michael Barton for accredited information and quotes that were used to put the story together, which you can find on the Chanticleer website and on our app. Great job, Maddie.
Paying to Print is Here to Stay by Madeline Reichard, our editor-in-chief. She wrote this article for a class in the digital journalism curriculum called Media Features. It's a class where we learn how to write more than just your basic news story. They're typically longer and more in-depth. She saw an issue among students that she wanted to find out more about, paying to print. Ultimately, she discovered that paying to print is not going anywhere anytime soon due to the cost to the university to provide printers for students. You can find the full article on our website or on the app. Proposed changes to state routes to be discussed at a public involvement meeting by Madeline Reichard and myself. The Alabama Department of Transportation announced January 8th that they are planning to spend $3 million to improve state roads in Jacksonville. $800,000 of that will come from the Transportation Alternatives Program grant, and $200,000 will come from the City of Jacksonville and the university. The rest will be from federal funds. You can read the full article on our website and on the app.
At number 4, we have Gallery, Sights and Sounds from Jack State's historic bowl victory. On January 8th, I uploaded a collection of 8 videos and 3 photos from the post-game celebration of Jack State's 34-31 New Orleans Bowl win to the sports section. This was the first time I tried my hand at a gallery for the website, and the collection is still up on the Chanticleer website or on the app. At number 5, we have Jacksonville State's Forgotten Bowl history. The Gamecocks won their first FBS bowl game in program history with their win over the Louisiana Raging Cajuns on December 16th, but it was not their first official bowl game in team history. In the first story I published while on my trip to New Orleans to cover last year's bowl game, I took a deep dive into Jacksonville State's team history. Thanks to the help of our excellent sports information directors here on campus, I found 8 previous FCS bowl games that date all the way back to 1948. You can check out the history on all 8 of those games in the sports section on the Chanticleer website and on the app.
Moving right along to our sports update for the week. Justin, take it away.
Men's basketball finds themselves at 10-8 on the year after an 80-69 loss at Western Kentucky on Saturday. They still are just 2-1 in Conference USA play after winning 6 of their last 7 matchups. You can check out a game story on our website from the last win at Liberty by Reed Williams for the sports section. Their next game is this Saturday versus Louisiana Tech inside of the friendly confines of Pete Matthews Coliseum at 4 p.m. Central Time. Women's basketball dropped to 6-9 on the year after a 62-52 loss to Western Kentucky on Saturday. They are 1-2 in conference play, and you can also read about their last win versus Liberty on our website by Mitchell Davis. The Jack State bowling team keeps on rolling in their inaugural season as they won the Stormin' Blue and White Vegas Classic last week to improve to 42-9 on the season. The O'Keefes have done an excellent job at getting this team to play well in year 1, and they are headed to New Jersey this weekend for their next tournament in the Northeast Classic, which starts this Friday. The indoor track and field season also starts this weekend, as Jacksonville State is heading to Nashville, Tennessee on Friday to compete in the 2-day Vanderbilt Invitational. That's it for Sports Scores. Now it's time for the deep dive. Before we start interviewing our journalists for this week, we want to give you a brief overview of them and what they do for us at the Chanticleer. We are looking at a collection of stories this week about the Board of Trustees from our news editor, Anna Barrett. Let's just say that there's someone on campus who has been here for 4 years. who somehow doesn't know much about the Board of Trustees. I'm not saying this is me or anything, but how would you describe them and what they do for the university?
The Board of Trustees is the decision-making body for the university, and they make the executive decisions that are kind of above all of the faculty on campus. So that's stuff like tuition increases, permission to buy property or to negotiate for property, and things like naming resolutions, like naming Hugh Merrill Hall, and the classrooms in there that are named after people that have made impacts on campus and to education in general. The Board of Trustees is made up of 11 members, including the governor of Alabama, Kay Ivey, but I mean, she's a busy woman. I've never seen her at a Board of Trustees meetings in my 2 years of covering it. But it is a diverse board of people from all over the state, and the head of the board is the chairman, Randall Jones. He sits at the table with President Killingsworth, so he's kind of the head decision maker and leader of this group.
So yeah, as a sports setter, I'm not really, I don't really run into the Board of Trustees a lot, except one time. So in kind of my first chance at being able to cover breaking news per se was when the softball team renamed the field, Janet McGinnis Field, and the Board of Trustees was out there, and they're the ones who approved them renaming the field. So I think that's my first instance really dealing with them, and I didn't really know who they were at the time, so maybe this question was about me. But just hearing that you've covered them for 2 years now, do you have a favorite memory or anything that you remember fondly about covering them for maybe the first time, or just any favorite memory really?
Now, not to say that I have a favorite, but there is one member of the board that I have spent more time with than the others, and that is because of my internship last summer in Montgomery. One of the members of the board is State Senator Vivian Figures, so I got to spend time with her over the summer as I was covering the State House and the State Senate. So every time I see her, I ask her, hey, how are your kids? Are you getting ready for legislative session? That kind of thing. But all of them are so kind, and it is a lot of fun, and we can get into it as we start to talk about the stories from trustees this quarter. But just to see their personalities and such is very fun for me to just kind of sit back and observe. So yeah, not that I have a favorite, but I have spent more time with Senator Figures.
And one of the biggest figures is it true that Randy Owen is on the Board of Trustees?
Randy Owen is on the Board of Trustees. He is deemed as an at-large donor. Randy Owen is the lead singer of the band Alabama. He's from Fort Payne. He went here. He graduated from here, which is something he's very proud of.
Very, very proud.
Very proud of. Randy Owen sits as the chair of the Academic Affairs Committee. So that's how I know that he's very proud of graduating from here. So he always talks about, he always advocates for students especially in money. Last April, when they were talking about raising tuition, he kept asking, why do we have to do this? Kids are already paying enough money. They've got enough stuff to worry about. It costs money to get in here. It costs money to take the test to get scholarships. It's so important to try and make school as affordable as possible, and we are lucky in that JSU is one of the most affordable colleges in the state of Alabama, if not the country. So he's a big advocate for that, and I respect him a lot for that.
And it's always good to know you have someone on the Board of Trustees who's fighting for the students' rights like that. And I just know universities is costly. So
yes, it is.
As I'm getting ready to graduate, that costs a lot of money to even graduate. So,
yeah.
But it's also always nice to know that we have someone like that on the board who's fighting for us and our pockets as well.
Yes.
So we talked about how long you've been covering the board for 2 years now as the news editor. Do you want to get into the stories now of what is going on this week or last week as well?
Sure. So basically, the Board of Trustees meets 4 times a year, and coincidentally, the January quarterly meeting is always on the first day of school. So I've had to miss the first day of spring semester for 2 years in a row. Basically, how it works is there are different committees: academic affairs, advancement, audit, risk and compliance, building and finance, and athletic. So this January, the Audit, Risk, and Compliance Committee did not meet because they didn't have enough to present. This is the first time I've seen that. In all of the trustees meetings I've been to, they have presented something. But as we're getting ready to be accredited by our accrediting body, the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges, SACCOC for short, they are working a lot and trying to get their audit ready for that accreditation in the spring. But each committee lasts anywhere between 30 minutes to the longest I've seen is like 3 hours, and that's usually the Academic Affairs Committee. Typically, the Academic Affairs Committee will go through student and faculty achievements, as well as what each department is doing that is making JSU a good college, basically. And they also will, Academic Affairs will also do stuff relating to campus visits, which is something that is really cool. And they actually upgraded campus visits at this last trustees meeting.
So you had a lot of stories come out from the Board of Trustees. How many stories in total did you have come out from the Board of Trustees, if you can remember off the top of your head?
Gosh, I don't know.
They all did well on the website, too. We should mention that as well.
People care, especially whenever it is in relation to their money. So I think I had 4 total stories come out of it.
Wow.
I was able to get help on some of those. Madeline Reichert, our editor-in-chief, is covering one of the committees, Building and Finance, and that was really helpful for me because Board of Trustees is always a really long work day. I worked for 10 and a half hours on the first day of Board of Trustees, and it's a 2-day affair. The second day is always shorter. It is usually over by noon, if not sooner than that. But the first day is from anywhere between like 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. to 5. So it's a true work day, and then you have to do stuff after that to actually write the story. So it's not just going to the event and being there. You have to put in time outside of it as well.
And that's really cool for the audience to get to know, kind of like the journalistic process, like we mentioned, of what all goes into covering events like that. I guess that would be my next question to you is, what are some things you have to do, and not just getting quotes or anything like that, but what are some things you have to do trying to write these stories?
So beyond just being there from 10 to 5, sometimes longer, I'm also recording what happens, taking photos, which is very hard to do when you're taking notes and trying to pay attention. You've got to pause taking notes, make a note of where that happens so you can go back and listen. And then I've got to get up and take pictures because we can't just not put a picture up. It's a digital platform. It's not like we have a print edition where not every story has a picture. And then sometimes there will be things that they talk about that I have questions about. So I've got to set up interviews that aren't on Monday or Tuesday of the trustees meeting and meet with those people to get further clarification and ask my own questions. That's something that I love about being a journalist. It's not just going to the event and telling people what happened. It's going to the event and then putting in work outside of it to make sure that your audience knows everything there is to know. And sometimes they don't say all of that, whether it's, just forgetting about it or maybe you just need clarification. So you've got to meet outside of the meeting to get that stuff. And there is, with any governmental body, which the Board of Trustees is, they have the power to go into executive session. They usually do this on Tuesdays, and it's a time, usually 30 minutes to 2 hours is the longest that I've seen.
Wow.
Yeah, sometimes they have a lot to talk about, and they talk about how they're going to vote on things. And so I usually get an opportunity to talk to faculty during that 2-ish hours while the trustees are in executive session. So that way I don't have to schedule meetings outside, and I can get the most out of my workday.
Absolutely. And one of the first stories you published from the Board of Trustees meeting was JSU opens command college for law enforcement, which you can find on the Chanticleer website. Can you just talk about that story and what it's all about?
Yeah, so this is kind of what I was talking about earlier about seeing the trustees' personalities. So the command college is at JSU's McClellan campus in Anniston. The command college will train law enforcement professionals to lead departments and agencies. Chief Barton, which we mentioned earlier, said the program will be aimed at higher-ranked law enforcement officers, and it's also modeled after a combination between the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia, and the Law Enforcement Management Institute in Texas. At these ribbon cuttings, I've been to a couple. They're more featurey and fun and not as hard news as oh my God, they're raising tuition, I'm going to have to pay more money. It's more, we're opening these things and these are the people that made it happen, kind of. An example of that is the fountain that's in front of Angel Hall on campus. I went to the ribbon cutting for that. That was actually my first ever event as news editor that I got to cover. These are serious events, and they're not serious in the way of hard news, but they're serious in that a lot of people put in time into this, and it matters to them especially. At these ribbon cuttings, Killingsworth speaks, the chairman of the board, Randall Jones, speaks, and often people involved in whatever the ribbon cutting is for. So in this case, that was the director for the Center of Best Practices in Law Enforcement, Caleb Littlejohn, who works at the Command College and in the Forensic Investigation Department in general, and the Alabama State Attorney General, Steve Marshall, was there. So following the ribbon cutting and the little ceremony they did before explaining what was happening, we all, the trustees and any attendees that were there besides them, we all took a tour of the facility to see kind of what the Forensic Investigation Department does there. And part of that, it was kind of gruesome. I'm not going to lie. Like, they have crime scene simulations.
I was going to ask, they have like yellow tape and like
yellow
white
tape.
lines
They've got
on the
fake
floor.
bodies.
Oh, wow.
With like fake blood that is made out of resin that you can like place where the fake body was fake shot.
Fake body was fake shot. I love how much you remember from this as well.
Well, it was weird.
It traumatized you. I can tell. And I really think that's one of the best parts about being a journalist and being able a chance to write different things is news is associated with strict on the line type of writing, but you get the chance to have feature style stories like this. And sports is, everything.
Everything. You can have breaking news with that. You can have featurey style stuff.
You can do almost any style of writing you want in sports, which is why I think it's a really good entry path for a lot of journalists and writers to kind of find your niche and the skill you want to hone in on.
If you really like gamers, you might be really good at breaking news. If you really like the player profiles, you might be really good at features. If
you like column style, you'd be good at opinions and stuff like that. Going back to the command college, anything else you want to say about that?
Yeah, so as we were going through the tour of the facility, we also toured a simulation room. Very cool. They use it to teach de-escalation scenarios to the cadets at the police academy that's there also. So they actually got some of the trustees to participate in the de-escalation.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was entertaining, to say the least, to just be a fly on the wall and kind of just be there with them and watch together. They gave senator figures a fake pistol that had something in it that would simulate it being a real gun. So if she pulled the trigger,
You're talking about air
pop.
pressure?
It is air pressure, but it's with
a certain
type of gas that they had in the room to fill it back up. So they pick a scenario. The participant doesn't know what's happening, and the controller will pick how the simulation responds. They have so many different outcomes, and most of them are able to be de-escalated without firing the weapon. So Senator Figures got up there, and she was responding to a individual who had broken into a car and had a machete or a shotgun or something. It ended with the individual charging at senator figures in the simulation, and she used her critical thinking and fired her weapon at him, and that is how that simulation ended. But then there was also a psychology professor that was there that participated in one, and she responded to a 911 call about somebody that had suicidal thoughts.
Wow.
And so she was able to talk down the individual in the simulation, and that resulted in nobody dying and that person getting help. And of course, it's all a simulation, but it's to test how people respond to things. And one of the trustees asked, like, if they get it wrong, do y'all look at it and say, this is what you could have done better? This is how you could have not killed that person? Things like that. So that was really cool to watch, and just to sit back in between two desks against the wall and just watch it all happen and take a couple pictures. So yeah, community college ribbon cutting was really fun. I wasn't expecting it to be, but it was.
That sounds awesome. And I love when stories take you to different interesting things like that. And it's one of the best things about being a journalist, right? Is going on cool events like that and seeing cool things. Sports is basically all that. So
Yeah.
every comic game you go to is fun, even if you win or lose. The next story after that was the pro state routes, which is also on our website. And I'll hand this off to you to talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah, so this is also in our top 5, and it didn't just come from Board of Trustees. The plans that ALDOT has were presented in detail at the trustees, but it also came from a press release from ALDOT. So I was able to hear Chief Barton's explanation of what is going on and what ALDOT really wants to do around Jacksonville and how that's going to affect our campus. And I was also able to talk to him afterwards to get clarification, using my time wisely during executive session and that kind of thing. So that was a joint byline between me and Madeline. And joint bylines are something that I had to get used to a lot over the summer working at the State House, because one person cannot possibly cover all of the committee meetings in one day. That is not possible. So I was able to work with a team, and we all did joint byline for most, if not all, of our stories. So joint bylining is something that is really helpful, especially whenever there are things like this where there are multiple things going on at once, such as city council and command college ribbon cutting and board of trustees and all the things. And we were able to split up the work and get all information in there that we thought was necessary.
You did a great job in describing what a joint byline is. And I think it's another important thing we should let our audience know about is journalism is a team kind of a sport. To me, I think you have to have teammates to help you along the way, and you can't do it by yourself.
No.
So moving on to the next story you have from the Board of Trustees, which is the most recent story as well. Color Your Future with Jax Mix. I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that story as well?
Yeah. So this is a prime example of when I needed to schedule a meeting outside of the trustees to get more information. Trustees' presentations are usually pretty quick, and there's not time for questions there, especially with something like this that happened on the Monday, and there's the only thing happening after Board of Trustees is, a ribbon cutting, and then everybody disappears. There's not a lot of time to talk to sources. So I was able to meet with Vice Provost Stacy Stone and try and get a little bit more detail about what Jax Mix is. Basically, SAC-COC, our accrediting body, requires a quality enhancement plan. That's when the university will choose an area to improve on. And for this round of accreditation, the university chose general education as their area to improve on. They worked on Jax Mix, which stands for Merging Innovation and Experience, for a while. I want to say 2 years at least. One of the members of the subcommittee said that she had been working on it for a couple years. It's also not just one person. This was a subcommittee of 35 people. So it was a team working on this. And 3 of those 35 were student representatives. There were 2 from the Student Government Association and 1 from the Honors Program. So it's not just talking heads at the tippy top of the food chain. It's going down from the top of the food chain, but also faculty members and professors of general education and students, because why are you going to make a decision about something that directly affects students without talking to them?
Very true.
So basically, Jax Mix is a way for students to get more out of their general education experience. The general education classes aren't changing, but there will be more benefits available to students when they take those classes. To my understanding, there are 5 focus options. And this whole system is color-coded. So if you choose one of these focus options and that one is associated to the color blue, that will be everywhere. And you'll be able to find everything that you need for it rather easily. So those 5 focus options are environmental stewardship, media literacy, ethical leadership, global connection, and community engagement. And that's according to Dr. Stone. So basically, whenever a student takes these state-mandated courses, they can choose one of those focus groups and do a little bit extra work that is actually like going to events and get a badged micro-credential that can be put onto their LinkedIn or on their resume. Dr. Stone said that this is a way for students to be more appealing to employers. So looking at 2 resumes or 2 LinkedIn profiles, if one has a micro credential and the other one doesn't, they're going to be more likely to choose the one with the micro credential because you've gotten a little bit more experience and done a little bit more. So on top of going to a couple events outside of class, students will also have to submit a work product. Now that can be anything from a paper that they've already written for that class, or it can be, say, you're in the you chose the environmental stewardship focus group and you are an officer for some environment related club. So you can submit that as your work product. Like, hey, I'm the president of this sustainability club. I don't think we have one, but if we do, awesome.
You're now the president. There you go.
You can say, I'm the president of this sustainability club, and this is what I do as president, and that can count as your work product. And then you'll also, another option for that work product is a reflection on how the focus group affected you and that kind of thing. So it's not extra work besides going to a couple events, and it's throughout your entire school, from my understanding. So you don't have to do it right away. It's not like you have to do it all in one semester. You have to go to a million events in like 2 weeks. No, it's optional, completely optional, and it is designed to benefit students outside of graduation once they leave campus.
That's amazing.
It is honestly really cool. And the logo was designed by Patrice Anderson. She's one of the professors in the art department, and it is a really cool logo. You can see it on the story, which is on the website, or on the app. It's a little gamecock, and it's all color-coded and kind of cute, in my opinion.
Kind of cute. It's definitely nice. So those are the stories we have up as of right now, currently filming the podcast. But do you have other things that are going up that our audience can probably look forward to?
There was actually something that was talked about at the Academic Affairs Committee that was really exciting and relating to campus tours. So the university is moving digital, as we've seen since the pandemic. We're all kind of moving more into technology and just the digital age in general. I mean, my degree is in digital journalism, not print, which it used to be. So there will now be a virtual tour that you can go on from wherever you are, and it's on the JSU website. I got to talk to Sarah Engel. She's the assistant director of campus visits, and she kind of explained to me how this is going to be so beneficial for people, say, when there's weather and they have to cancel the tour for the day, or there's somebody from way off like Montana or Wyoming that wants to come here or is thinking about coming here, and they can take this virtual tour. And there are 12 stops on it, and it takes you around campus just as you would if you were on a real life tour in person. And it's also customizable to the season, which I think is really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so they can change out the stops. So if it's football season, one of the stops can be the stadium, the football stadium, or if it's spring, it can be at Pete Matthews Coliseum or the baseball field, and just kind of interchange between all of those. And it can also be replaced with pictures of fall. One of my favorite parts about going here is how pretty it is in the fall with being at the foot of the mountains. So that will be able to be experienced through the virtual tour as well. So yeah, this virtual tour is going to be, it's actually a part of something that the marketing department is working on, where we have a 3D map of campus that can be changed instantly. So if there's a road closure with all the construction, they can toggle, hey, this road is going to be closed. This is an alternate route. And it can act like things like Waze or Apple Maps or Google Maps, where you can get directions, walking directions using sidewalks from point A to point B. And I was talking to Chris Newsom in the marketing department, who's been kind of in charge of the 3D map. And I told him, like, my freshman year, I had a class at Stone Center on the first day of class, and I put it into my Apple Maps, and it took me on the road, and I walked. So something like this is going to be really helpful. And he said the main target audience are new students that may not know where things are and they've been here for a while, families, visitors, and just people that don't know where they are, because it's scary and confusing to be in a college campus where you don't know where things are. Like if I said that, for example, the fountain in front of Angel Hall, you may not know where Angel Hall is. And having this 3D map could be really helpful for that.
So as we wrap up the deep dive now, thank you so much, Anna, again for delivering this deep dive for us on episode 1 of The Crow. And as we wrap up this episode, it's coming to an end, sadly. Let's talk about what you can look forward to throughout the week.
Okay, so Thursday, January 18th, if you're listening to this podcast on the day it comes out, a national juried graphic design show today in Hammond Hall from 5 to 7. And on Friday is the last day to withdraw from courses and receive a 50% tuition refund. And that is about it for campus events. There are some club meetings, and if you're interested in any of those, you can go to the Campus Life calendar on the JSU website.
And like I said in the sports scores report, you can look forward to indoor track and field opening back up this spring for the Vanderbilt Invitational in Nashville, Tennessee on Friday, as well as the bowling team starting their next tournament in New Jersey for the Bowling Northeast Classic. On Saturday, Jacksonville State's men's basketball will play Louisiana Tech at 4 p.m. here at Pete Matthews Coliseum, and women's basketball will also play at 2 p.m. Central Time at Louisiana Tech.
On Tuesday, January 23rd, there will be a stress and wellness event in the McClure Chapel. This is all coming from the Campus Life calendar on the JSU website, and it says, this workshop, students will learn about what stress is, how it affects their overall health, and how to prevent burnout by learning to balance their mental health. It will be a combination of lecture and activity-based workshop. And if you have any questions or want more information, you can contact Alicia Orman at alorman@jsu.edu. And this will be a free event for students in the McClure Chapel, which is behind the Jack Copper Dining Hall, if you didn't know, from 2:30 to 3:30.
On Wednesday, January 24th, the Gamecocks men's basketball team will go to Middle Tennessee to play them at 6:30, and women's basketball will also play Middle Tennessee at 6:30, but this time at Pete Matthews Coliseum.
And wrapping up our upcoming events section, also on Wednesday, January 24th, there will be a trauma-informed yoga therapy session in the rec center from 3 to 4. According to the description on the Campus Life calendar, come and explore the benefits of trauma-informed yoga therapy in helping regulate stress, anxiety, and other concerns. All supplies are provided, but space is limited. To reserve space or to learn more, please contact jnix@jsu.edu. And this will be in Studio 1 in the Rec Center. Thank you all for listening. Just as a reminder, on top of being able to listen to The Crow on our website, you can also listen on Spotify. We are working to expand the availability to different platforms, so just be patient with us on that. The Crow will also be aired on WLJS 91.9 FM on Thursday mornings at 9 and Friday evenings at 6. We are your hosts, Anna Barrett
and Justin Travis. We will meet you back here next week.